Welcome to Chapter 8, Employee Empowerment. So today we'll be talking about employee empowerment. You'll be reading about it, uh, including taking a quick assignment where you're going to be put in the role of somebody that is dealing with the not believing in employee empowerment. So some things that we're going to talk about on this lecture is we're going to define employee empowerment. We're going to talk about the rationale behind it, inhibitors of it, what management's role is, how to implement it, and how to recognize and empower employees, and look beyond empowerment to enlistment. So let's define what employee empowerment is. Empowerment means engaging employees in the thinking and processes of an organization in ways that matter. Involvement means having input. Empowerment means having input that is heard and used, and it means giving employees ownership of their jobs. I'm sure you've been in a job before where your boss has simply told you things to do, not asking what your opinion is on processes or why you're doing them or how you can make things better. Probably made you feel really helpless. Probably made you feel like you weren't valued. Well, the idea behind employee empowerment is as leaders of organizations, we want to empower employees to have say on processes and procedures and take ownership of what they do and suggest ways to improve it. Now, this isn't easy. Empowerment requires a change in organizational culture, but it does not mean that managers abdicate their responsibility or authority. A good leader empowers their employees and doesn't pass off his or her work to them to do on their behalf. The rationale behind empowerment is that the best way to increase creative thinking and initiative on the part of employees. This, in turn, is an excellent way to enhance an organization's competitiveness. Another aspect of rationale for empowerment is that it can be outstanding motivator. If you think about it, if you're working with employees and you challenge them to create some ideas and to come up with ways to improve their processes, they become more engaged. They care more about what they're doing. This is a tactic that we can use to empower them to not only care about their jobs, but help make things even better. Now, the primary inhibitor of empowerment is resistance to change. Resistance may come from employees, unions, and even management. Management-related inhibitors include the fear of losing control. This is where micromanagers seem to have a problem with giving people responsibilities and not allowing them to think for themselves. It's the whole I'm the boss syndrome. Status of I'm important and you're not. It's an old school syndrome and one that, a fear of exclusion and a fear caused by insecurity. Now, management's role in empowerment is best described as commitment, leadership, and facilitation. The kinds of support managers can provide include having supportive attitude, role modeling, training, facilitating, employing MBWA, taking quick action on recommendations, and recognizing the accomplishments of employees. Leadership is very hard to define, but you kind of know it when you see it. I have a saying that I like to tell people that I work with. A good leader doesn't have to tell people they're in charge. People naturally follow a good leader. They don't have to tell people they're in charge. People want to follow them. The implementation of empowerment has 4 broad steps. First, create a supportive environment. Target and overcome inhibitors. Put the vehicles in place for employees to use. And then assess, adjust, and improve. Now, what are these vehicles? Vehicles include brainstorming, group technique, quality circles, suggestions, and walking and talking. Finally, a workforce that is ready for empowerment is accustomed to critical thinking, understands the decision-making process, and knows where it fits into the big picture. It's important that before you instill this culture, that you do training, that you talk about these types of vehicles and exercises, and that people all buy in and are moving in the same way. Now, enlistment is empowerment, which ownership is not just allowed, but expected. So I want you to read chapter 8 and complete the assignment. And we'll talk soon.